What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Take Three podcast. We're here late Monday night following Super Bowl 57. Super disappointing game. I guess I can take one positive out of it. Jalen Hurts looked like a stud all night, but yeah, it's just super disappointing. I mean, day after a Super Bowl loss, it took us 5 years to get back. It kind of felt like my entire lifetime, both of ours, just watching big games. I mean, just Philly in general losing big ones. I'm kind of used to it. It sucks. But I mean, before we
hmm
dive into it, like I have so much to talk about this game. I mean, how are your emotions coming off of it? I mean, I was bummed. I kind of just sat and just stared at the TV. I was like, dude, like fuck, this sucks, right? Like it feels like we always go up against great quarterbacks. We face Brady twice. We face this guy. Like, I mean, what can you do?
Yeah, I was pretty bummed with that result. Obviously, it was a fun game, like lots of points scored. They played well. We'll break it down to get into it, but like the part that was so disappointing to me, I'm not like talking about if it was a hold or not a hold, like just the fact that it was like a flag and then kneel to like a really lame, easy field goal. Just like it wasn't the fact that we lost, it was like the way we lost was just so disappointing to me. Like
Yeah.
we could have got the ball back, and if we get stopped on fourth down, they stop Jalen, then like hats off to him. But like a flag and then some kneels to a kick. Like I was very disappointed with the ending.
I mean, spot on. I mean, you literally jumped in. That's literally the first top. I mean, it's the freshest thing on everybody's mind. Like it's the thing. It's the thing you got to talk about. I mean, what do you make of it? I'm disappointed about it. Like, I mean, it was clear as he was cutting inside. I watched video. Even James Bradbury said himself, like, I held him. I was
Yeah,
hoping the ref. I saw some dumbass thing, some dumb podcast that I read too. That was like, the Eagles notoriously wear dark gloves with the green jerseys, and the Chiefs wore white jerseys. I was like, dude, get the hell out of here. But what do you make of the
yeah,
call? I personally, in a Super Bowl, I mean, if you take the Eagles out of it, you put any just two blank teams in there. I don't like the call for the moment. It was definitely a penalty, but I mean, yeah, what do you make of it? Bummer, definitely stole kind of an all-time ending. But I mean, I felt like, just kind of, yeah, the penalty, Super Bowl, big moment. Do you want the game decided by that? And then the throw in general, like he kind of, Patrick Mahomes kind of just lobbed it to the back of the end zone. The pocket was literally collapsing as it was. Right. So he was kind of just heaving it up there and basically baiting and praying for a call, and the prayer got answered. But yeah, what do you make of the hold?
yeah. I'm glad you talked about the actual throw, because that was what, like, it was technically a hold. Bradbury said it was a hold. Like it is what it is. Like they called it, but like that's what I was yelling about. Is like, dude, I don't think if like Juju wasn't covered, I think it was like it was too far back. Like I don't think Juju could have gotten that ball. Maybe he could have, but like I thought it was a bad throw. It was already out, and they kind of saved him on that holding call. I mean, Bradbury admitted it was a hold. Like it's just real unfortunate, but like it's Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Like things aren't rigged, but the league sways heavily into who they favor. Right? Tom Brady retired. Mahomes is clearly the face of the league. Like he's the future. Something similar happened at the end of the AFC Championship game. A lot of Bengals fans were upset and like say you can't end the game on a penalty like that. But like it's Patrick Mahomes, dude. He is the golden goose for the NFL right now. He brings all the eyes, all the attention, all the money. Like he's going to be favored in those positions, and we have to just be smarter than that. Like, unfortunately, like I hate that ending so much, and I'm like still very upset about that. But like, reality is, they're flags. They're allowed to call them, and I think at the end of the day, like, if you're facing Kansas City and number 15, like he's always going to be favored for those calls. You can feel a certain way about it, but like that's the reality of the league, reality of the situation.
Yeah, I thought the one earlier in the game was far worse too. It was on Bradbury as well when he kind of, I think it was same Juju as well going across the middle when he kind of wrapped him up. I thought that one was worse than the down the stretch. But yeah, it just sucks, right? I mean, that's what a lot of people are harping on, right? We got robbed of kind of an all-time ending. And I mean, I guess it kind of is what it is. It's interesting that 63 other passes were thrown in that game. I would have loved to see tape on every single one of them, right? To see how many other, pass interferences, holds were kind of out there. I mean, I'll leave the floor to you. What direction do you kind of want to go in? I mean, I obviously have some stuff on my mind that I would love to discuss about this game specifically, but I'll kind of open it up to you. Where do you want to dive into off the rip with this one?
So the two things to me would be like quarterback play and then the special teams and defenses. And I'll start with the defense and special teams, just like how I was honestly disappointed in Philadelphia's. Like we had a historically great defensive season. We could not get to Patrick Mahomes. We did not have one sack. Like that was pretty astounding to me. He had a bad ankle. I mean, clearly he could move fine. That's not really a good excuse, but like we couldn't get the ball. We couldn't get him down. Excuse me. We couldn't get to the ball and get a sack. Like we got some pressures, we got some hurry ups, but we could never get him down on the actual ground, which is so surprising to me. And then on the other side, not that the Chiefs defense was great, but there was a moment where they needed to be great and they got a 3-and-out. That was a really big one. And then right after that, the special teams made a huge play with Kadarius Toney on that punt return. And I remember sitting there live because obviously it was the right call to punt. Like you're sitting on your own 20, but like I just felt like Mahomes wasn't getting stopped. I think it was 27-28 at that point. And to me, I wanted him to go for it. 4th and 2. Jalen's been fantastic. In my mind, I was like, screw it. You don't get it. You give up a touchdown. It's still a 1-possession game. Just freaking go for it. And then, like, the worst scenario possible happened. They punted it, and it was basically like we went for it and didn't get it anyway. And then Kadarius Toney ran it, like, all the way back, and it was really short field. And they got an easy touchdown for the lead. That's just, like, that was, like, one of the moments that really stood out to me. And I think that moment really highlighted the difference because like the Chiefs defense wasn't great, but they had one really good stop and the special teams made one big play. And the Eagles defense, which had done it all year, they could not get a sack or the big play when they needed it most. I think that was the big difference to me.
Yeah, I think it was adjustments. I think I watched, if I'm being honest, I watched Jonathan Gannon coach that game, and I think that was one of the worst defensive coaching performances that I think I've watched since Juan Castillo was our defensive coordinator, and that man was an O-line coach. He made no adjustments, right? He kind of just sat back. They used the 30. They had 40 minutes at half, and Andy Reid, you knew that he was going to cook something up, right? They kind of sat back, and you knew Andy wasn't going to come out and run the same shit, and then you saw right out of the rip, right out of half more 12 personnel there running the ball at like damn near 6 yards a carry with Isaiah Pacheco, which is ridiculous to think that the Eagles run game, right, that was so dominant all year, and the Kansas City rush game was actually it was more efficient in that Super Bowl. But yeah, Jonathan Gannon's unwillingness to adjust at all, right? I mean, you watch the 3 touchdowns or the touchdowns out of the gate, it's all the same stuff, right? It's the motion. They were terrified of a jet sweep, and they just abused us. It was communication, right? I can see it hitting you once. It happens once. You go back onto the sidelines, you bring out the tablets, and you say, "This is what happened. Let's correct it." But then, bang, it happens again, and it's like he just didn't adjust. And then back to the defense with the sacks. I mean, I got to sit back, and I loved our defense all year. They were so great. The front four was so great. But I think I got to agree with some of the pundits and the guys on TV and the radio hosts. We didn't really face a lot of great quarterbacks. We faced a lot of Daniel Joneses, a lot of Davis Webbs, some Heineke's, some Carson Wentz's, right? Guys that you can jump out ahead of them, force them to throw, and just unleash the dogs out of them. When you look at kind of the halfway competent quarterbacks that we faced, the Dax one time, the Jared Goffs, we faced Rodgers, although he got hurt. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes out there, Trevor Lawrence. The defense allowed 33 points per game. So I think we might have got suckered in a little bit. They are a great front, right? I love those dudes up front, but I think we kind of got suckered in just a tad bit. And Jonathan Gannon had no answer, right? He kind of you really saw as the game went on, it was if the front four can't get there, we have nothing. And it was just super disappointing to watch that guy not adjust. Because I mean, if I can sit at home on a TV and say, "Oh shit, look, this is coming again," bang, it happens, and you got a guy that's getting paid probably at least $1 million to sit down there with a headset and make those calls and make those reads. I saw a buddy of mine say it's the players. I mean, when you watch the Chiefs, that's all scheme. Like they didn't have a contested catch all game, right? They didn't. It looked like everything was wide open, right? Players are stuff that happens to L'Jarius Sneed, where Devontae Smith burns down the sidelines and a busted coverage. That's on the players. It was all schematics. Andy Reid literally ran mental gymnastics around Jonathan Gannon's defense, and it was just it was disappointing. I don't know. I was let down by a unit. You know, we rode with them. They were super good all year, but I think it might have been. I'm not going to say completely fool's gold, but I think it was a little bit of kind of fool's gold when you face elite quarterbacks. They're hard to get to. Credit to Kansas City's O line. They were stout. It was like a brick wall, right? You couldn't get to the guy in the Mahomes. He's just that damn good. He's hard to sack as it is. To be honest, nobody got sacked. They had one, but it was like a fake.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts runs out of bounds. So really nobody got sacked. But I mean, credit to the O line. Jonathan Gannon. Maybe he's going to Arizona, but the guy did nothing. I mean, in the Super Bowl, you kind of see what guys are made of, and he didn't live up to it, right? He couldn't get out. of what he was stuck in.
Yeah, I think the quarterback's face is actually a really good point. That's something I had saw heading into the Super Bowl, but it is a little bit of gold because the secondary is not as good as they came off as. Like I still I love Darius Slay. I love that trade for Gardner Johnson. I think we should sign him as well. But like outside of that, like I'm not as sold as Bradbury and my mind's going blank on the fourth one, but like I don't believe the secondary was as good. And then to that point as well, though, it's kind of a double edged sword there, though, because like the outlier is just freaking Patrick Mahomes. If you look at his career, every time he's faced the number one ranked defense, he throws for over 300 yards a game and he lights them up. Granted, he didn't do it that way to us. Like he actually, I didn't think Mahomes was like had an incredible performance. Honestly, I think in the fourth quarter and when it mattered most, he was absolutely great, phenomenal. But like as a total game, like I don't think he played a great game start to finish at all. And one of the drives in the second half was an extremely short field off that phenomenal return by Kadarius Toney. But what I will give Mahomes a ton of credit for is when it mattered most, he was beyond great. He was excellent, phenomenal, any adjective you want. He didn't put it together the whole game, but like he's that outlier. Like if you look at his career, every time he plays the number one ranked pass defense, the number one defenses, he shreds them every single time, averages over 30 points. So like I do feel that the defense was I do buy into that part of a little bit of fool's gold, but like we do need to acknowledge like Patrick Mahomes is just that dude. Like he's an outlier all around. Like he tears up. He like plays better when they're really good defenses. It's quite impressive. You remember earlier in the year, I know this is a way callback, but he played the Niners and he put up 40 plus points on them as well. So it's like whenever he goes to top defenses throughout his short 5-year historic career, like he absolutely shreds them.
Yeah, it was just a little too reliant. Yeah, I mean, going into half right, I think we were kind of we got him right where we want him, but we really didn't. Patrick Mahomes didn't really take the field in the first half. The Eagles did a hell of a job on offense, right, stringing out drives, finding ways to get big
It was
third
that strip
downs.
sack.
The fumble, that's one of the errors, right? That when you get that, no defensive adjustments, and then the line drive punt, it kind of kills you. But yeah, we didn't see it. I know Mahomes is kind of the outlier. The guy was on the field for 24 minutes and they put up 38 points. It's scary. But yeah, I mean that's my thoughts on Jonathan Gannon. The guy was kind of out of his element, I'll say. But what do you make of Jalen Hurts, dude? I mean, I come off this game, I'm like, shit, we lost the Super Bowl, right? And then you get going forward, Jalen Hurts, like, I mean, that's a performance of a lifetime, right? It just sucks that you go up against Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and those guys find a way. And I mean, any other DC, right, or maybe a defensive coordinator that makes an adjustment or tries to do anything, you probably win. But what do you make of that guy? Laid it all out on the line. Who knows if the shoulder was 100%? Look, damn near 100%. He was doing everything for us. And I got to say, coming out of this game, I'm just super glad that that guy is kind of the face of the franchise going forward.
Yeah, I love Jalen Hurts. I said heading into the year before he had this incredible season, how sold I am as like a leader and a person, but not necessarily as a quarterback. And like, well, obviously he answered all those questions. Like I'm so happy Hurts is an Eagle, and I think he had an incredible game. Even take away the fumble six, like he gave the Chiefs that. I mean, he gave him a touchdown. It was still damn close, and I think he had the best performance of the game personally. Like I thought he was absolutely phenomenal start to finish. Now you could argue Mahomes wasn't on the field as much and he was better. To each their own, whatever. But like Jalen had an incredible performance. Keep in mind, I think he probably would have been MVP if he didn't get hurt. And honestly, his bad performances this year, with the exception of that Monday night loss against Washington, where the team played bad, he
Hmm.
pretty much was phenomenal in almost every single game. I mean, the last few games where he wasn't playing as well, his shoulder was clearly banged up a little bit. You gave him more time the 2 weeks in between, and he came out and was phenomenal. So like the sky's the limit. The beautiful thing is a lot. I feel like we're gonna bring a lot of this team back, and there's a lot of draft capital, and we were so damn close. And I do believe. I mean, who knows, right? But like I do believe Jalen would have went down, at least tied the game with a field goal if he got the opportunity. So like hats off to Jalen. He's all he's done is improve and be incredible, college and professional. And like I'm so excited for the future with him. I'm just very disappointed in the moment.
Yeah, I just think, yeah, I mean, you got to be thankful. Honestly, if he doesn't play like that and probably play the best game of his career, probably best game of football. I mean, I watched him plenty at Alabama as well. Probably the best game, even at Oklahoma. Probably the best game that he's
Yeah.
ever played football wise. Maybe dating back to a high school game, but who the hell counts those? Like at this level, to come out, all the critics, if Kansas City turns it into a passing game, he's not going to be able to keep up, right? He can't pass, and to sling it 27 to 38, 300 yards, a touchdown, and then his running, he was really the only competent, really only consistent runner, right, with his 15 carries, 70 yards, and 3 touchdowns on the ground. He kind of really kept us afloat, right? Because if he's not there, honestly, the game could have been damn near bad. It could have been like 55-10. Because I don't think the defense, if Mahomes is out on the field a bunch in the first half, like it's probably an absolute disaster for us. Seeing what the second
Yeah.
half looked like, we had no answer for Patrick Mahomes. It was just pray that we can get to him, and obviously we could not get to him. Yeah. What do you make of I guess the other thing, field conditions. What do you think of that field they're playing on, dude? That's like playing on an ice hockey rink. Like I cannot believe the biggest stage of football. Like, can we play at SoFi every year? Can we play it? I mean, I hate the Cowboys, but can we play it like Jerry World, where the turf, where we don't got? I saw the turf guy's a 95-year-old guy that's done the that's done the grass for every Super Bowl. Let me say to that guy, he can retire. His grass sucks. Yeah. What do you make? What do you make of the field conditions for the biggest game of football that's played each year?
I'm not gonna lie. At first, I didn't realize, but like when they started pointing it out on the broadcast, and I really was paying attention, I was pissed off watching it. But are you kidding me? This is the biggest game of the year. They even mentioned the Chiefs complaining about this field at the start of this season, and they know they're hosting the Super Bowl, and they still had those field conditions. Um, yeah, let's give credit where credit's due, but like talk about no sacks. Well, like yeah, everyone's slipping. Of course, of course there's no sacks. But I think there was one catch where it was either Devontae Smith or AJ Brown caught it like 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage or 1 yard out. They go to make a move and they slip and get tackled real fast. Like yeah, I thought that was abysmal. The NFL's done a lot of good things this year, and they've handled certain situations really, really well. But that was a field conditions were straight up embarrassing for like how big of a production the Super Bowl is and how big of a entity this game is. I thought the field conditions were just unacceptable. Honestly, they were bad.
Yeah, terrible. I think they said they grew that grass for like 2 years or some shit. But yeah, they can throw that shit away.
They
Honestly,
need
it's
another two
bad when
years.
yeah, dude, it's bad when Harrison Butker lined up for the field goal, and I was like, watch out, dude, he's on that slippery ass logo, and then he lines up for the kick and pulls it left. I was like, there we go, right? Yeah, the field. I just cannot believe that they trot that out for the Super Bowl. And then I guess flip side, I mean, what do you make of the Chiefs, dude? They lose Tyreek Hill. Everybody's kind of, I don't know. They're trying to run with this weird underdog mentality thing. Like I don't know, like some cheesy analysts, like maybe people picked the Chargers. We kind of had high expectations for the
Oh
Chargers,
no.
but I don't think anybody said like Patrick Mahomes is going to disappear. They get rid of Tyreek Hill. Andy Reid's no longer going to be a good coach. Like nobody said any of that's going to happen. Like that was the insane part. Like maybe some people didn't take the Chiefs, but we knew they were still always going to be around, right? Like as long as you had the best quarterback in the league, you're going to be there. What do you make of the Chiefs, right? You think Tyreek Hill, he's got to be sitting in Miami pretty salty, right? Like he wanted a big payday, he got his big payday, but he just watches his guys win a championship without him while he's out in the wild card round without a quarterback.
Tyreek Hill has a case for being the best wide receiver in the league. Like he left Mahomes, went to Tua, and was still incredible, right? And I would still be annoyed and slash mad if I was Tyreek. Dude, you're missing out, which could be a potentially one of the best dynasties ever. Like obviously it's New England. Let's not even debate it, right? It's New England Patriots. But like what Patrick Mahomes has done is just absolutely ridiculous. You take away Tyreek Hill and they go back to the Super Bowl and they win. If you look at his 5 years, his first year, he lost in the AFC Championship off an offside call against New England. His second year, he won the Super Bowl. Third year, got his ass kicked in the Super Bowl against Tampa Bay. Last year, lost an overtime game to the Cincinnati Bengals, and then this year won the Super Bowl. Those are his 5 NFL seasons. Worst is he loses at home in the AFC Championship. By the way, he hosted that game all 5 years as well. It's absolutely historical. It's incredible. I'm scared they're only going to get better and better. They probably would have won the first year too if it wasn't for New England and that offside call. They might have 3 in 5 years instead of 2 in 5 years. I think they have a great chance to win again next year. And what scares me a lot is we've seen moments we saw in the Super Bowl, moments of Kadarius Toney be fantastic, and like speaking of getting rid of Tyreek Hill, I mean, I'm not gonna say he'll be Tyreek Hill, but like first off, he has to stay healthy and stay on the field. But like, I do believe if Tony can stay on the field, him and Mahomes could do like really special things. I think he could be really, really crazy. And obviously, they're gonna go out, retool, and try and get more wide receiver weapons for him. So it's like, man, as great as Tom Brady's longevity and career was, like we might be seeing something even better. I think talent wise, we all agree it's better, but like he might get the accolades as well. It's just been nothing short of beyond impressive. And what sucks about this Eagles loss is like I actually really like the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, Andy Reid was in Philly for a long time. I like Travis Kelsey. I like Mahomes. I hate the fact that they had to beat the Eagles.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it sucks. I like him all besides Mahomes, Dev. And he said smoking on the Philly pack thing. That
Yeah,
kind of pissed me off because I was like, dude, I mean, you guys had that
Eagles been
beef with the bang. Yeah, I was like, you
respectful.
have that beef with the Bengals. Like, leave that with the Bengals, that Burrowhead stuff. Like, those guys are cocky assholes. I was like, I don't think any of the Eagles kind of jumped out and said anything
Mm-mm.
wild, right? We just kept it clear and crisp. But yeah, I mean, the Chiefs, they're scary. I was literally driving to work today thinking about that. I was like, if we're only basing it off Super Bowls, then it's like nobody's ever getting there. But I mean, if you think of Mahomes gets all these accolades, all the yards, the stats, right? Keeps playing, but he only gets 4 titles. Like I could argue with all the hardware, everything he's done that he's the GOAT, right? But I mean, everybody's going to
Yeah,
base it literally off of just the championships, which I think is kind of crazy. I mean, that's literally the debate in basketball as well, right? It's everybody's chasing the rings. It's like I don't know, at some point, right? Dan Marino never won one, and he's a great quarterback. So I think it's just Mahomes is a legitimate case. He's definitely the best quarterback that I've ever watched play football. The things he can do are like no other. And as you said, that team, I mean, we saw some Sky Moore. We didn't really see a lot of him in the regular
hmm
season that much. He found a way to get kind of in sync. They got him a touchdown. As you mentioned, Kadarius Toney, if he can keep on the field and keep the hamstrings good and the feet good and all that, he has a chance to be scary. Juju said potentially he wants to stay long term. Obviously, the cap's super tight. Mahomes hits going up, so they have some cap hurdles to kind of jump. But I mean, yeah, they're scary. I mean, I don't think this underdog thing when Pat Mahomes suits up as the starting quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, they're basically a shoe-in for the AFC title is what it showed. He's been there every year. They host it every time, right? They've hosted it every damn time he suits up. So that's what it is. Yeah, I mean they got a good shot. They're a scary team, and as you said, they're only going to get better. It'll be interesting to see if they can bring Orlando Brown back. He's like the big piece of their team that at left tackle that they need to either figure out. He's going to want a boatload of money. So we'll see if they can do some cap finesse and bring him back. But I mean, yeah, as long as 15's back there and Andy Reid, he's just such a good play caller, right? Schematically, they lose Tyreek Hill and people think it's going to bang. And no, what do? They switch it up. They can beat you on the inside. They can get the ball out of Mahomes' hands quick. I didn't even mention Isaiah Pacheco out of the backfield, 7th round pick. He looks like a stud. That guy runs hard. I was watching that dude in the Super Bowl. I was like,
yeah.
that fucking dude runs hard. Like he's scary. All you got to do is block. Yeah, just block for him and let that dude rolls, breaks tackles. Like that dude he's like a bowling ball running. It was scary to see the physicality that guy ran with. But yeah, the Chiefs are going to be there, right? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they're back in the Super Bowl again. As tough as the AFC is, obviously Sean Payton going out to the AFC West could make things a little bit more interesting. But I mean, that team, yeah, that weird underdog thing they're taking. As you said, it sucks to lose to it just sucks to lose to Andy Reid kind of like I don't know he was the
Yeah.
Eagles coach for so long but it's like I really didn't want that fucker to get one over us and he just found a way but I don't know the future's bright in Philly the future is bright I'd say for both sides like I really like Nick Sirianni a ton he's kind of taken this the right way he could have jumped up to the podium blame the flag right the holding garbage call but no he pretty much said if it gets to that point there's a lot of plays that happen on the football field there's a lot of plays on that field that led up to that result of the game. As we already talked, the fumble, like that was crucial. I mean, that gets you an extra 7 points for Kansas City, and then the punt was brutal. I don't know. Got to figure out something special teams. Damn near we should have just kept Brett Kern to be honest. That Siposs punt, damn near looked like a Brett Kern punt to be honest. Like it wasn't pretty. He really wasn't good last year either. Like I don't know. They got to figure something out with the punt game.
Yeah.
Ever since we lost Cameron Johnson, we really haven't had that punting and the special teams. Yeah, that's a big thing. When you let up the longest punt return in Super Bowl history, it's kind of a bad thing. This one, it stings. It'll sting for a little little bit. You know what I mean? As you say, it took 5 years to get back here. So it's like, I really, really, really hope it doesn't take that long. I don't think it'll take that long, right? The NFC picture. I mean, we'll talk about it all off season when we jump into that stuff, but it's not really changing that much, right? I mean, if Howie's a smart GM, got to bring back CJ Gardner Johnson. I'd imagine Jalen Hurts is smart with his extension, which they'll get done in what, the next month or two, to where if he should do it the way Mahomes did it, right? Team friendly off the rip, you'll get your money for sure, but you want to still have that talent around you, right? I mean, that was a big component of this team, the amount of talent. And then I really hope Jason Kelsey, I hope that wasn't it for him, man, because he's such a big
Yeah.
part. Big part. I don't know. He was doing the wave as he was going off, and I was like, please don't tell me this. Give us like one more year, Jason Kelsey. Come out there and retool this thing. But yeah, I mean, the future is bright. It sucks to lose the Super Bowl, but I like what we have going. I like the Sirianni Hurts combo going into the future.
Yeah, I just back this leadership of this team so much. They've been so like cool, calm, and collected, and they were again in the Super Bowl loss. And it's like, when you look at the landscape of the NFC, and we'll get into it in future episodes, but like it's really like we are leading the charge with maybe the 49ers behind us, and that's really it. And like I would say both of these teams are favorites to reappear in the Super Bowl next year. Obviously, so many things could happen, but like the NFC is just we have a way easier path than Kansas City, even though they got Mahomes. We know all those young quarterbacks in the AFC is going to get tough, but like both teams are primed to make like long runs here. It's all about off seasons and everything, but that's a beautiful part. The silver lining is great draft capital, and the NFC, like Jalen's the best quarterback in the NFC. I feel very good saying that, and it's not like it's the AFC where there's 4 or 5 other elite guys. Like there's really not a lot behind Jalen, especially with Tom leaving, and who knows what happens with Aaron. So it's like silver lining is like they're just in a phenomenal spot. It's going to be bitter for a little bit, but the silver lining of the loss is I'll say this is I think I'm handling this loss way better because of the 2017 win. If they were both losses, I think I'd be even way more upset.
Yeah, if they were both Super Bowl losses, I don't know if I'd be able to come on and do this episode. I'd
Yeah.
probably be super disappointed. Like, I don't even know if I'd want to sit here and discuss how we lost another one, right? Like, at least we do have 2017. At least we beat one of these good ass quarterbacks.
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe we can get a shoe in. Maybe some freak stuff happens where like Trevor Lawrence makes it to the Super Bowl next year, and we get to face like the guys that have
Ducky.
never been there, like some random shit. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's that motion sweep, right? They got some things that'll be interesting to see. It sounds like Shane Steichen's gone to the Colts for sure. He was literally flying to Indy on Jim
Yes.
Irsay's plane, so he's gone. We'll see Jonathan Gannon. Honestly, you got to figure it out, or he can get the hell out too. Like it was just, I don't know. Maybe the moment was too big for him. I mean, guys, that was the worry, right? You'd never been there. You kind of change up, but he didn't change up anything. He just sat there
Yep.
and let him smoke him. I think Mahomes had one incompletion in the second half, and it was literally
Uh,
a throw. It was a throwaway. So I mean, yeah, they got to figure out the coordinator situation. We'll talk off season stuff for sure, but yeah, I'm just glad we have one Super Bowl in the bag. And yeah, I mean, the live odds next year, I think the Niners are favored. Just they're like 8-1. We're 9-1, I think. I mean, I think that's fair just because the Niners roster is kind of set. Like they're not really having that many pieces move. QB's still going to be on a rookie deal and everything. But hopefully, Howie can swing it. We have a lot of capital. Cap space is tight, but he's a cap wizard. I'd say he kind of knows how to work it and finesse it. So I expect him to do some magic. And just this team, it just sucks because we have to wait like literally 8 months,
uh-huh.
not 8 months, but like 6 months to watch football again. Like you get stung, you get punched in the gut here,
Uh,
and it's 6 months. But credit to the Chiefs, congratulations to those guys. 2 and 4 years is special. Pat Mahomes did his thing. And yeah, obviously anticlimactic ending, but it is what it is at the end of the day. I'm used to it at this point. I'm ready for draft time, ready for free agency to kick off as soon as possible. You kind of got anything to wrap this thing up before we prepare for some off-season episodes and see where we can go in this off-season?
just congrats to the Kansas City Chiefs. Congrats to Patrick Mahomes. I hate to say it, but I am a fan of this franchise and that team. I do like them. Very proud of this Eagles team. Incredible season, incredible run, phenomenal year. Super, super fun. Jalen lost 2 football games the entire season. Excited for the future.
Yep, future looks bright. Congrats to the Chiefs again. Yeah, that's going to do it for the Super Bowl recap. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Drop any feedback in the description or add us on Twitter. Spotify link will be posted in the description of this video, and we will be back probably sometime next week as we create a off-season plan, get things together, see how we want to run the off-season to, yeah, get into free agency. Draft time should be interesting.